What is up? Welcome to the NBA Rundown, brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm your host, Spread Astaire, joined today by Tyler Hicks and JSU. And JSU, I've seen you on the final countdown, but this is the first time we've talked since the demise of our guys, right? I love KD, you love Kyrie. They couldn't get it done. We're going to break down the games, guys. Don't worry. But we got to talk what happened to our guys, man. They didn't get it done. What were your thoughts on that series?
Yeah. I've talked about it, like you said, a ton on, the other shows I've done, obviously, but I'll just quickly, I haven't seen Tyler yet, but I gave him his props a couple times on the shows. So I'll shout him out again for, I think, being the only person that was on the panel that had any interest in Boston whatsoever. I think everyone else was on the Nets side completely. So I know there were some chatters that like Boston. So it's not that, there was no one else on Boston, but he was the only one on the panel. So I had to give him his props. I'll give him his props again. It was a good call. Called it before the series. And, I thought the loss of Robert Williams was going to be more key than it actually was, because honestly, it didn't even matter. It didn't matter that he was even in the series, because they own the Nets without Robert Williams. Like, they just completely shut down KD and Kyrie. And it was just, I didn't expect it. I didn't see them being that physical with them. I didn't see that really get into KD, but it did. And props to Boston for, owning me and owning, let's be honest, probably 80% of the people that were betting that series was on the Nets. Maybe, so, well, it's the side I thought was right. I was wrong. Take my L and, hopefully can get one back. I will say that the one thing that surprised me, and I don't know if you guys I love Jason Tatum. I've first thing I ever touted, actually, back when I started touting, it was Jason Tatum was a rookie. And the first thing I ever touted was Jason Tatum in 5 years would be a top 5 NBA player in the league. And so it's kind of cool that, I think we're starting to see that for sure. I think you can start to talk about him like that. And that's pretty awesome. But yeah, I just didn't see KD and Kyrie being shut down like that, and they were. Kyrie looked disinterested too. I don't know about you guys, but in the last two games,
just hungry, right?
I don't know.
He never did this before.
Is he hungry? But Spread, I don't know about you, but
Spread.
Did you guys notice that he was completely fine towards the end of games of giving the ball to KD at the top and then just filing his way into the corner and sitting there? I don't know. It's just, to me, I get you're trying to isolate KD, but you are Kyrie. You're one of the top offensive scorers in all of basketball. I don't understand you just filing into the corner like that. I just don't get it. It looked like he just was fine with.
I think Smart was making him pretty uncomfortable too. Smart's pretty quick. He's a lot bigger.
I'm literally talking about 4 minutes left in the game, and he's just passing the ball and running to the corner. You think that's smart? I think that's him.
Like Landry Shamet, right? Hey, my role is to be a corner 3 guy.
That's what I'm saying. I think it was less about anyone. It was more just about him. I don't know. Maybe after the first 2 games, he was like, "Fuck this." I have no idea. I don't know, but. Either way,
what do we make with Durant here, right? Because to me, Durant was the best offensive player in the league. This is the first time I've ever seen him shut down like that. Is it age?
Tatum was the best player in the series. That was the other thing.
That All-Star game better not give me no Team Durant next year.
Yeah,
better be Team Tatum. I'm not even joking.
It better be Team Tatum. It better be. Yeah. Unless Tatum somehow gets hurt or something and doesn't play or something like that, it probably will be Team Tatum. But I'm just saying, I don't think anyone who was betting that series pre-series thought Tatum was going to be the best player in the series. And that's where we were all wrong. That's where even Tyler, who bet the Celtics, Tyler, I don't know, maybe in this, I might be off here. You tell me, when you bet the Celtics, tell me, was it more about the team and all the guys they had around them and more about the Nets and how it's really 2 guys and everyone else? Or did you think Tatum was the best player on the floor?
No, I mean, of course, I thought KD was the best, but I thought because there was the argument everyone made it was like, yeah, they have number one, but a lot of people wanted to argue they had number two, but a lot of people also wanted to argue Boston had number two and Tatum. I think that showed. And when I broke down that series more, it was more the fact that it was just those two guys. And Boston's got a plethora of guys they can throw at you and just get on you defensively. And I thought they would tire them out, and that's kind of what they did. So that was kind of my breakdown. I thought the series was going to be a slugfest, though. I didn't think they were going to
spread. I have to interrupt Tyler because we got real basketball fans in the chat. So I like to engage with the chat.
You're going to pull a hamstring on this victory lap, bro.
I'm sorry, man. First of all, you could teach me nothing about basketball. Second of all, you picked one winner in your life, and you're talking about knowing basketball. First, so you're not just talking to me, Greg. You're talking to Spread. You're talking to literally everyone except for Tyler, who is on this show. I'm sorry.
He's turned the victory lap into the victory marathon, dude. He's going 26.2 miles with this victory, bro.
If that's the case, buddy, then you start giving your picks and stop watching these shows, man. You don't need this YouTube show. Get out of here, Greg. Get your own winners. I mean, unless you're just following Tyler, which if that's the case, then give Tyler some props and get out of here with learning basketball. I mean, I could ring around. I could go on a whole thing about teaching basketball, but we don't have to get into it right now. I'm pretty sure Spread too knows a little about hoops. I'm just gonna say, Spread, you've been watching the NBA for a little while, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not calling out age or anything, but hey, I'm just saying, Spread's been around a little while.
Yeah. All right. Well, there we go with the Nets. But so KD next year, right? Of course, during the regular season, he's going to be on all your rosters. He's going to kill all those other defenses. I mean, do you think that was age? Or do you think it's something that Boston did that other teams are going to be able to replicate?
No, I don't think it had anything to do with age. Boston was just physical with him. Physical, too, to the point where, again, you heard me after, the first game or two. I forget if it was one game or two games after when I was on the show. But I was like, can the physicality continue like that? Are they – and it did. It did. I was fine with it. NBA playoffs, you should be able to be physical like that, but it was just all game. Like I kept saying, when he didn't have the ball, when he did have the ball, they were just forcing him to catch in bad spots. You could tell too, he was hesitating a ton because he didn't know when doubles were coming. They were faking doubles at him, running at him, and the hands thing, they were really making him uncomfortable. And I don't think we've seen KD like that in a while, so I think we
never.
I think we have to give the Celtics credit as a team, right? Yeah. I mean, we have to give them as a team, whether it's the coach, the players for executing. I think you have to give them all a little bit. I'll still say, I've never seen KD get his shit punched like that on a fadeaway jumper. I've never seen that happen. I don't know about you guys. I've watched KD for his whole career.
I mean, Tony Allen gave him problems, and that was in 2014.
Again, though, did Tony Allen ever literally punch his fadeaway shot back?
No, but the first 2 or 3 games were the same. Where he's putting up 9 at 25, and he looked discombobulated.
Oh, I'm just saying though, it was definitely. I did not expect some people to be punching his fadeaway shots back. The dude's 6'11". He's super long. I don't know. That's his thing, right? He shoots over people. You don't see people blocking a shot, let alone punching it backwards. It's not even like they were tip blocking them. They were punching his shit. So yeah, I did not expect that. But Tatum, that's a man right there. So and Grant Williams, I'll give a shot. Their whole team played well in their spurts on KD for sure. Even Jaylen Brown.
Let's talk a little bit about what we saw last night. Wasn't the most exciting night. The Bucks got it done. They're going to advance to face the Celtics. The chat is already talking about it. He says, "Let me guess, we're all going to bet the Celtics." Come on, Greg, you know me better than that. I'm going back to my guys that won it for me last year. I think this is a way different team. And I'll be honest, this is price. This is price-based. I'm doing it based off price. But I think at this price, the Bucks have some value for the next series. Tyler, we'll start with you. I think I know where you're going. But how do you see this next one playing out? You're going to serve me again?
I built this train last year on the Suns, and we rode them to the finals. Mind you, they didn't get the job done for us. Think I'm going to plant my flag in Boston this year.
It's not a bad.
That
place to be.
This was the thing, spread when we broke this down last year before the playoffs, and you picked Milwaukee, and I gave the good take for them too. We said defense. They had PJ Tucker. They could switch everything. Well, that's Boston this year. They could switch everything. The only time they can't switch is when you have Horford out there. And that's literally the littlest simple pull him off the floor, throw Derek White on. Now you have 5 guys that can switch everything. So the thing about it too is if Middleton just got said he's not going to play this entire series today, more than likely. Yeah. So kind of leaves Giannis by himself. I mean, Drew could have good games, but I think Drew and Marcus Smart kind of cancel each other out. So it's Giannis against Tatum and Brown. Could he win? Yes. But
Drew's way better.
But he is, but the defense on each other, they're just going to kind of dogfight each other the entire time.
Yeah.
So it leaves Giannis in a 2v1. Could he beat him? Yes. I'm going to side with Tatum, though, because another thing, Milwaukee tends to give up a ton of threes. These Boston guys get hot from 3. Good luck beating them. Because now they're playing great defense and they're shooting hot. So I'm taking Boston.
Did you see the wide open threes they were letting Chicago shoot yesterday?
Yeah,
wide open.
Yeah, give those to Boston and see those start falling in. Good luck.
Boston's streaky like that too. They can miss a lot, but they can get hot. And when they get hot, it's
like
the Bulls had
points.
No shooting without Levine. Like Levine, they have nobody else that can really stroke. You saw it last game. Like even Vooch, the first half, he was missing shots. The second half, he made some shots, but they were already down. Like, it didn't matter. But they don't have shooters. That's why, like, when Middleton got hurt, we did this thing on the final countdown because it was right around the time when D-Book got hurt. We're like, all right, like, who's in some trouble here? If you had to pick a team that was in bigger trouble, would you pick the Bucks or would you pick Phoenix? And there were a lot of people that thought Milwaukee was in trouble. I'm just sitting here like scratching my head going like, how are they in trouble? Like the Bulls are the worst matchup for the Bucks. Like the Bucks are just, look at what they were doing to DeRozan. They were throwing 3 dudes at him, forcing him to pass the ball and just saying, hey, Derek Jones, Troy Brown, Ayo, Kobe White, like if you guys make threes, you'll be in the game. If you guys miss threes, we're going to beat you by 30, right? 25. And that's what happened. They couldn't hit shots. They had that one little run in the third quarter last game. But even then, what happened? The run stalled and then 25 points. The lead got back up to like 25. And it's like the firepower they have, it's hard to stop because when Giannis starts putting his head down and going to the rim, it's so hard for teams to be disciplined enough to take charges. They had like there was one point where I think it was Derek Jones or Pat Will. They like slapped Giannis because he beat him off the dribble and they like came in to help and slapped him. And Kobe White was just standing ready to take a charge. And whoever was announcing the game was like, he has to trust his teammate to let him take that charge because that's how you beat Giannis. Like that's how you get to Giannis. You got to get him in foul trouble. I think the Celtics have shown the way they game plan and stuck to the game plan defensively against the Nets. They've shown that they can stick to it. You want to bet Marcus Smart, these guys aren't going to be ready for Giannis, ready to take charges. Giannis puts his head down.
They're not going to be able to punk him physically, though, like they did to Durant.
No, but he's going to come at him like a freight train, and he'll have 3 fouls in the first quarter.
Yeah, this is where I think the Celtics could have the edge. If the Celtics stay disciplined like they did, I think they could frustrate Giannis into some frustration foul calls that could get him into trouble. And Bud, like he'll just sit Giannis, like he'll pull Giannis if he gets even worried about it. He's that type of coach. So I do kind of lean the Celtics if I have to pick that series, but I just think they could frustrate him. I agree with you, though. He ain't getting punked. Like, there's a difference between frustration and getting punked. The difference between Giannis and KD, What Giannis will do to counter is Giannis is going to have to try and bully them on the boards and get inside. KD refused to do that. KD was always catching the ball out by almost the 3-point line. They were forcing him out. He didn't want nothing inside. He even without Robert Williams, he wanted nothing to do with being inside. They were bullying him that way. Giannis, you're not going to be able to bully, right? You're not going to be able to like just throw him like a rag doll. They were throwing KD around. Like Grant Williams was just absolutely, when he got on him, he was just leaning right on him, pushing him out. I don't think you can do that against Giannis, right? He's a little stronger than KD.
Yeah, I can't wait to see. And let's give Boston credit, right? While, the Bucks said, hey, let's just tank so we can play the Bulls in the first round. Not only did they grab the number 2 seed, take the team Brooklyn that nobody wanted to play, they beat them faster. Now, because of that, they're going to have home court if this goes to Game 7. So a fantastic series, man. I can't wait for that thing to kick off. And let's talk about the game that tilted Tyler and I. We didn't even text Tyler, but I knew you were just as pissed as me. I was in bed 5 seconds after the final horn. I cannot believe that we did not cover with the Golden State Warriors last night. They held the Nuggets to a 4-minute run in the fourth quarter, right? And they're just missing wide open shots. They should have blown the game open then. Really disappointing. I felt like we were on the right side, and then it felt like the Warriors weren't even treating it like a playoff game. It's like, oh, let's get Kuminga some reps. Oh, let's try out this lineup. And it's like, yeah, you are going to win Denver. Maybe that is better for the long term. But for you and me, betting the game pissed me off. What'd you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. I mean, Golden State does do that when their threes aren't falling. They just can't get on those explosive runs. I mean, Steph was getting to the basket at the end of the game, too. Like, he could have drew us a couple of and ones. And it just seemed like spread. They were in that mode where it was like they know they have the game won.
Yeah.
It was just like, do we want to punch them in the mouth and beat them by 10, or do we just want to kind of hang out and win this game by like 5 or 6? And they were kind of in that hang out, win it by 5 or 6 mode. You could just tell. So that's where we got screwed at.
What are your thoughts on the Warriors for the next round going against either Minnesota or Memphis?
If it's Memphis, I know a lot of people like Memphis in the beginning, but we just talked about all them open shots Chicago got, and they couldn't make any of them.
Yeah.
Well, I watched the same thing in Memphis, Minnesota the other night. The Minnesota guys realized that if your name ain't Desmond Bane, you cannot shoot threes for the Memphis Grizzlies. I know Ja hit the last one, and that's the only one that matters because it gave him the lead. But if you watched every other jump shot he put up in that game, dude couldn't hit the side of a barn. Same thing with Dylan Brooks. Jaren Jackson's the same way. And the other guy doesn't shoot. So it's like Desmond Bane or bust from 3 for them. I think that's going to be the killer for them when they play Golden State.
All right, yeah. Hey, so your thoughts on the Warriors win, JSU, and then, of course, give me a little Memphis-Minnesota breakdown.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Tyler that the Warriors just look like a nightmare right now for a team. Like if they play Memphis, Memphis can't, outside of like 1 or 2 guys, they just don't shoot well. So like if you can kind of get, let's be honest too, Desmond Bane's been ridiculous. Is he going to stay hot for the entire playoffs? Like at some point, this man will cool down. Like he's good. I think he's really good, actually, but I just don't expect him to continue this. At some point, that cools down. The Warriors, though, even if Jordan Poole cools down, they still got Steph. They still got Clay. They still got Draymond. They got Gary Payton, who comes off the bench and gives them big minutes. My point is they're just so deep, and they have so many guys that, like, 1 or 2 of their scorers can go cold, and they can still be fine offensively. As long as Draymond is there, that team will be fine because Draymond runs the ship. When they got down 10 points to Denver, I think it was in the 3rd or the 2nd. I can't remember. I think it was the 3rd. They got down 10 points to Denver, and it was like in that period of like, okay, if it starts to get to like 14, 15, they might be in a little bit of trouble. And all of a sudden, you just saw Draymond settle them right down. He got Steph wide open for a few threes. Steph made a couple. He hit a 3. He calmed everything down, said, all right, screw this. I'm going to get everyone in the right spot and get them into it. And he got them back in that game right away. Like the lead went right back to, I think they got up 1 really quick. So like Draymond did that. He was the leader. So no matter what, I think that Memphis or Minnesota, whoever wins that series, they're just going to struggle. I mean, we've seen Minnesota collapses. Could you imagine Minnesota going up against Golden State the way
Minnesota's got no chance in my mind?
Memphis zero chance. If Minnesota were to come back and beat Memphis somehow, they would have zero chance against Golden.
Draymond Green will put Towns into therapy for the rest of his life.
He'll be the next Ben Simmons. He'll be in therapy for a whole year.
Wearing weird outfits on the sidelines, looking like he's on LSU.
He'll have mental blocks that trigger back problems.
Yeah, Sylvester.
He'll be drinking wine for the rest of the. He'll be drinking wine for the rest of the playoffs. Every night he'll just be drinking wine, just bottles and bottles. Poor cat. He's just.
Sylvester Payne brings this up. He says Memphis is 4-1 in the last 5 with Golden State. Haven't looked it up, but off the top of my head, I'm thinking that Draymond missed like 3 of those though, so it doesn't matter.
Well, and 2, so Memphis is like one of those teams. Remember in the regular season, they were like they played really hard. They got up for all those games. Like I remember watching some of them and being like, man, they're excited to be whooping on Golden State. Like they loved it. There's that thing with Iggy too, with some of those guys. I don't know if you're.
Oh yeah, because he didn't want to play with them. Yeah,
there's a big thing with like Dillon Brooks and some of those guys. They do not like each other. Like
I
they
wouldn't
do
either
not
if he didn't want to play with me. That was kind of messed up what he did.
Yeah, what he did was messed up. But so some of those guys were there. They remember that. They resent that shit. And there's going to be some back and forth with that series. I do think, though, in the end, Golden State wins. But can we talk about that game real quick and how Anthony Edwards lost that game for him? I mean, you guys saw the last play of the game.
By going for the steal?
I mean, you're playing Ja Morant. This is low IQ basketball at its best.
Yeah,
and if
it's
you
like
know
jumping
basketball
around as a corner in man coverage. That's what he did.
Yeah, that's what he did. He was trying to be a hero, right? He was instead of just being like, okay, like Tyler said, outside of that 3 you hit, Ja, before this, right? You haven't been hitting shots like all series, right? Outside shots, I'm saying. Well, let's make Josh shoot an outside shot. All he has to do is stay in front of him, force the pass. Instead of that inside pass, force it to his outside hand, keep him, body between the hoop and him, and just say, okay, shoot over me or pass it to someone else to shoot. I'm not letting you get to the cup. And what'd he do? Nope. Instead of cutting him off, he said, I'm going to go around you, try and get the steal. Dillon Brooks put it right in the pocket, right where it should have been on the other hand. And he had a wide open. It was either a layup or that dish, because Vanderbilt knew. He's like, if I run at him, it's an open layup for whoever was down there. I forget who was down there wide open. So it was a 2-on-1 for Ja. So Ja knew he had the layup because he wasn't committing to him. So he stayed back and just tried to block it. And Ja it was awful. Like, it was a terrible play. Like, that is low IQ basketball at its best right there.
To give A1
why Minnesota won't win.
To give him his props, he acknowledged it after the game, and he is only 20 years old. And he didn't have any experience really trying to win in college. So he's never even really learned how to win. He's only played AAU, balled out there, went to Georgia, balled out there. Now he's got to learn how to win. Takes a little while. The kid's only 20.
Learn how to win, though, Spread. Like, that should be, I don't know. That's like obvious. That's like you're playing a guy who can't hit shots from the outside.
But he already said, like, I just had this vision of myself making the steal, winning the game. I mean, that's the reason we like him, is because he's got this great confidence.
That's the 19-year-old in him. He wanted to be. Yeah,
I don't think he does that. Even next
he wanted to stand on that table in Memphis and be like,
I'm just saying, though. Okay, I'm just saying this, though. Like, you put any type of, like, knowledgeable defender out there, they're not making that play.
No,
right?
And his basketball IQ is not really that high. He said, I didn't really play basketball. Remember Tyler, when I was down on him?
I do remember he was.
I remember Spread red flag the hell out of Anthony.
Yeah, because he was like,
this guy's not going to be good. This guy just doesn't want to be here. 2 weeks later, he sees an interview. He's like, my guy.
Yeah, he cut a promo.
He's got all the talent. That's not shitting on his talent. It's just, I don't know. To me, like, those are the things that in playoff basketball, they're heightened, right? Those type of situations, because you get in those situations where, like, you can't do that. Like, I don't know. It shouldn't even need to be said either. Like, you just can't go for that steal.
But you know what? That's what's great about Minnesota actually going for it this year and giving him that playoff experience. I really think he's going to learn from it. And out of anyone, it seems like he's a competitor and he's going to know what's going on. So I don't know. Do you think Memphis finishes it off tomorrow night?
I mean, I hope so because I bet the 4-2 Memphis. So I'm on the.
Oh,
I got the ticket.
I'm rooting for JSU then, but I think it's going 7.
I think I'm scared that they're. I mean, you know, they want 7. Of course they do. This has been a good series. Like, I will say this too, Minnesota has outplayed them for majority of the games. Like, really and truly, if you just.
They have way more talent, too. If you were going to go trade the pieces off, like blow up both teams, you're going to get way more in return for the Minnesota players.
Yeah, I mean, D'Angelo Russell, though, he's
terrible.
Looked a little rough in this series, but
he looks like a deer caught in the headlights.
Yeah, it's tough scene for D-Russ right there. At least Cat's played like a tiny bit better, but still, even him, like in the games he's played better, he's still like made mistakes. He's still like had turnovers and stuff like that. It's just Minnesota's not it. They're not it. I'm not saying Memphis is either, but those collapses are just.
If you could put one player on Minnesota next year, who would it be? Like not some superstar, like who fixes their team the most right now? I say it's Jalen Brunson. They need somebody to run that offense.
They need a veteran. They need a veteran who can kind of like how Draymond does with the Warriors, how he just commands everything. Okay, you guys are the talent, right? I'm not as talented as everybody else. I'm going to be the brains, right? I'm going to tell everyone where to go. I'm going to make sure everyone's in the right spot. I'm going to get you guys all your looks. Like, they need someone like that. They need like a veteran. They got Vanderbilt, who's a young kid out there playing big minutes. They've got too many like young kids. They got Pat Bev, but I mean,
is
you guys
he
know
always the best influence though?
I don't think he is, and I think he's so overrated as a defender too. Everyone talks about.
You can't tell me he didn't have influence on that last play where he's like, "And go for the steal."
Yeah, he got on.
He might have
on the shoulder.
He might have.
Yeah.
See, but he should have been saying the opposite. Like Pat Bev should have been saying the opposite.
Yeah,
you don't need to go for the steal. Just play him straight up.
Yeah,
let him catch it. I mean, make him shoot over you. I don't know.
If I'm Minnesota, I ditch Towns, I ditch Russell, and I rebuild around Edwards. But you're right. Probably bringing some veterans that know ball. And Chris Finch, another guy, right? A learning experience for him too, because boy, I mean, all the leads they've blown. Right. It's definitely been, I think it's a great experience for the team though. I mean, even if they lose tonight, I think they take so much for this going into next year. So
the problem is we got a chatter, he says the problem with Minnesota is pretty much no one wants to go there. Right. Like it is true.
I mean, Deshaun Watson went to Cleveland. If you give them money, they're going to go.
Yeah, I was about to say that was before they started to play good. Like you might have some guys look at that team now and be like, I see something with these young guys. Let me go up there and play a few years.
Yeah, if it's taking a veteran minimum in LA or getting $20 million a year in Minnesota, they're going to go to Minnesota. So we'll see how it goes. I say you clear that salary out, get rid of Towns, get some draft picks. Probably have to send a draft pick out to get someone to take Russell. But I would reset this and think of a whole new timeline, man. I'm out on Towns.
Utah, bring Gobert to Minnesota.
Oh God, no! Don't do that.
Let Mitchell and Cat just yell at each other in the locker room.
I don't even know that. Both those guys, you don't want Gobert. That's just where the best defense. Where is he right now? He's getting stung by a bee. What happened to him?
Yeah, stung by a bee.
Gobert.
Unbelievable. All right. Well, actually, we're going to get into that one, but that's not the first game of the night. Let's start. This series has been so much fun, man. The potential narratives for this series, if Toronto wins tonight, are going to be out of the world. For my NBA Twitter experience, I am so rooting for the Raptors tonight. I want the memes. I want the crap talk. I want the Doc Rivers quotes. So I saw a tweet, right, where the guy says, Doc Rivers quotes, if you read them in your head in Donald Trump voice, they make so much more sense. And I took that one where he was trying to defend himself about, blowing all those leads. And it really did remind me of that. So I'm here for it. And not only that, I do believe the Raptors have a great chance tonight. Now, are they going to win the series still? I took them before the series. I was hoping they'd have a chance to wrap it up in Game 6. If they wouldn't have blown that one last play where it felt like they didn't think a shot could get off. I don't even know. We talked about this before. We won't go back into it. But they didn't guard the inbounder. They got a 6-foot guy, Van Vliet on Embiid. I mean, it was just terribly run.
God.
Yeah.
We talked about this on the final countdown. That play just no one on the inbounder, right, Spread? Like you got Van Vliet running at Embiid. It's literally like me running at Embiid. Like, what is he doing right now? Like, maybe you get to his elbow, like if you jump, like Embiid was just like, this is like money in the bank, just wide open.
Unbelievable.
And you got all that length too, Spread, right? Like Toronto had like guys.
Yeah, it's not like they're a smaller, like the Nets are a small team, right? Yeah. Their best lineup's got a bunch of guys under 6'5". That was inexcusable. Regardless, I think Toronto's got a great chance tonight. Scotty Barnes at point forward or point guard or whatever you want to call him has been unbelievable because he's not afraid to go down on the post when he gets smaller players. He can pass right over everybody. And when you go to the defensive end, there's nobody for Harden and Maxey to pick on their switches. Who are you calling out to switch for? I mean, it's just you're going to go to Precious. I guess the centers are the guys you're going for, but you know what I'm saying? Then you got to bring Embiid out of the paint. It's just a really bad matchup here for Philadelphia. And if you don't think that this team is feeling the pressure, right? Embiid's heard it before. Harden's heard it before. Doc's heard it before. They don't like KD and even Irving. They have kind of the cachet, right? They're still enjoying their summer. They've got rings on their finger, right? I mean, these guys, this is their legacy on the line here. A lot of pressure. I think Toronto gets it done tonight. I'm not ready to say that they win Game 7, but I like them here tonight. Tyler, what do you think?
I'm going with Philly.
All right, let's hear it.
I think it's one of them things like you push them into a corner, you're getting all the quotes out of them. Mm-hmm. They know it's one of them things. No one's ever blown a 3-0 lead. I think you get a big game out of Embiid tonight, and I think he's just tired of hearing it all. Like you probably get like a 40-17 out of him, a decent game out of Harden, and then they win the game. Mind you, I wouldn't be surprised if this new Raptors defense without Van Fleet did stifle him and they win another game, but I just don't see it. Embiid's had 2 subpar games back-to-back. I know his wrist is messed up, but I think he kind of tries to shrug that off tonight and just tries to put this team away. So I'm siding with Philly. I like his points plus rebounds plus assists at 42.5. I like Scotty Barnes at 26.5 on his PRA. And then as for some of these performance doubles, give me Joel Embiid double-double and win at plus 130. That's the first one that stuck out to me, and I think it's very likely if they win, he has a double-double.
All right. JSU, I do believe that Embiid has a big night. I just wonder if it's going to be enough. What do you think?
Yeah, first off, my guy Keg in the chat. Well, I don't have my hat, but fake hat tip to you, my friend. What's going on, buddy? But I think that so if Tyler's right and Philly wins, I like the look of Embiid double-double because I do think he gets a double-double. Like that's not that crazy. The problem is I don't think they win this game. I think that the series is going 7. I think that 1, 2, the storylines, right? The headlines, NBA, like they want this. This is what they want, right? No team's ever lost, going down going down 3-0. And I'll tell you right now, the person who feels the most pressure, did you guys listen to Doc Rivers after the last game?
When he was trying to, that was the one.
The dude who has the most pressure on him is not even playing in the game. He's Doc Rivers sitting on the sideline.
How do you think that affects the game?
Pressure. Well, I'll tell you right now, I mean, he has got to be he's got to be a nervous wreck because he does not want to face the media if this L happens tonight. If he loses tonight, because you could tell he wanted nothing to do with the question. He had all the excuses already in his head ready to throw at him, with everything that happened to him the last couple times. You know what I mean? He was giving him everything with CP3 playing on one leg and all the excuses he was throwing out there. Instead of just owning him up and say, hey, listen, it's just, it's the playoffs, man. It's tough. Like, winning in this league ain't easy. He could have easily just kind of said stuff like that. And I don't know, like instead he just had a ton of excuses coming out of his mouth. Like he should just owned him up. And I think people will respect it a little bit more if he just owned it. Like, yeah, like it's not easy to win in this league because that's a truth. And I don't know, like, has bad things happened to him? Is it unfortunate that like CP played on one leg or whatever in that series? Yeah. But I'm just saying he had all the excuses ready. Get ready for the excuses to come out once they lose this game tonight, because I think it happens. I think this series goes 7. I picked Toronto before the series. We'll see if they end up getting the full out win, but I do think they win here. And Joel Embiid's, right, it's the right thumb, right? He had the torn ligament in his right thumb. I'll just say it, like, they need him. They need him to put pressure on this Toronto team, be effective right off the bat. And I don't know. It feels like Toronto's playing with house money. Like, it's one of those games where, like, you're not supposed to even win this game. Like, so you go out there and win. They're playing almost free, right? Fred VanVleet's out. You know what I mean? You were already down 3-0. It's like, what pressure's on you? All the pressure's on Philly. That's the truth. And they're playing in Toronto. I think the series goes 7. I think they win tonight. I'm going to bet them tonight. And I can't wait. It's going to be a fun game, I think.
I can't wait either, man. It's going to be so much fun. I thought I was not looking forward to last night's game. I told everyone on the rundown, guys, take your wife out tonight, right? Like, get everything taken care of on the home front so you can dig in for tonight's games. And I do think that Doc Rivers pressure kind of just permeates the locker room, right? Going back to my work experience, or when your leader is on edge like that, it permeates to the whole locker room, right? Everybody gets on edge, right? You want a guy with some confidence leading you. I don't see that happening right now. And I'll tell you what, Embiid's been questioned before. He does not look 100% to me. Look at where he's catching the ball in these last couple games compared to where he was in the first, where he was just establishing, dominating position, and there was nothing you can do about it. Now he's playing on the perimeter. That's exactly where I want him if I'm Toronto. That's not where I want him if I'm Philadelphia. So, hey, they've got to – if you want to take the Sixers tonight, hey, I'm fine. Curtis Cray, hey, it's a great contrarian angle, right? And you could argue that maybe you're getting a little bit of value because this was +3, +4 a couple games ago when they played in Toronto. So, I mean, I could see that happening. I'm just telling you from what I've watched of these games so far, I'm going with Toronto tonight.
It's a good point that you bring up too, where like Embiid definitely doesn't seem as comfortable pounding out down low as much as he did in the beginning of the series. He's out on the perimeter. It's a good point. Like, that's where Toronto wants him, right?
That's where everybody wants him.
Joel Embiid down low, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know he can shoot, but like, trust me, I'll take my chances with you outside than you inside. Like, I'll take that all day. So,
and Ken Birch knows, man. His job is like, who were those guys back in the day? I'm trying to remember the names. Like Anthony Mason was kind of one of those guys. There was a guy on the Jazz the same way. They're just in there to rough the other guys up. I mean, that's what their job is, right? Ken Birch knows I'm not in the closing lineup. It doesn't matter if I foul out. Let me be physical with this guy and kind of bump him up right off.
The Jazz guy you were thinking of?
I'm trying to think. Ostertag was kind of that way.
Greg Ostertag?
I'm going back to like the 80s, right? Like I'll look it up afterwards. But
Ostertag was.
Is there any urgency in Philly right now that Miami's finished up? And it's like, do we kind of want to get Toronto disposed of as quickly as possible, get Embiid a little bit of a break? Like, you go 7 games, you're going to turn right around into Miami, who's a juggernaut on the defensive end and has more bodies to throw at Embiid.
I think the urgency is that anything can happen in a game 7. Just the losing. I don't know how much.
I'm talking about tonight.
Again, too, a game 7, again, all the pressure's on Philly.
All
no matter, it doesn't even
and those
matter.
fans will turn on you.
Oh yeah,
they're not like Sacramento where we just cheer you.
Quick.
Hey, thanks for trying hard, guys. They will turn on you in Philadelphia. Yeah.
Yep.
So, Mark Eaton, that's a good one, right? The guy like Mark Eaton out there. Great. Thanks for joining in there on Landa. All right, Tyler, you gave out some props for this game? Any player performance doubles? You gave one already, right?
Yeah, the only one I really like is that Embiid double and win, because I'm like 75% sure they win the game. Like, I'm going to take my stand on Philly, but I don't want to load up on the player performance doubles, and they do blow this game. So it's just Embiid double and win for me.
All right, my last take on this game, don't bet the over. I think the under is a pretty good look. I don't love it, but I don't see how I like the under a lot in this game. The only reason I don't really want to give it out is gone down about 2.5 points. It even's gone down a half point since we started the show. But do you agree with me, Tyler? It's under or pass here if you're playing the total, right?
Yeah, I agree. Under or pass. I mean, with that new Raptors lineup on the floor, too, they just switch everything. The defense is great. So, yeah, under or pass for me.
JSU, we both like the under. Tell me what your thoughts on the total are. And I know, like, Big T doesn't even look at totals, but does the fact that I think this game is most likely to go under of all three of them, does that factor into how you're making your lineup tonight?
No, because it's all about roster construction, about price tags, and where opportunity is going to be for some of these teams. In Toronto, let's be honest, with no Fred VanVleet, there's going to be good opportunity for some of these Toronto guys. So for sure,
Okay.
who brought up the Scotty Barnes prop? What was it? The over 20?
Our guy Jonathan Nelson.
Yeah, our guy in the chat brought it up.
Yeah, Nelson. I mean, that is a good prop. Like, they give me that prop all day. From Jonathan Nelson. Like, that's a good one to go at, because Scotty Barnes, Point Barnes, and like you guys said, he's going to take smaller dudes down. When he gets smaller dudes on him, he's going to take them down. He's not afraid to post them up. And he's just like one of those all-around dudes, right? Like, he's not amazing yet at anything, but he's pretty good at all these different things. And those are guys you like when it comes to those, like, points, rebounds, assists, props, because he's going to get you a good amount of each. Like, he's going to spread it out. He's not one of those just scoring dependent guys, or, got to do it on the rebounding side, right? He can do a little of everything.
Yeah, I think the place where he's probably closest to amazing is off ball and help defense. I think he can really get.
Oh yeah, I was talking offense.
Yeah.
Defense, he actually is really good. So, he's really good on defense. I was talking more with the points. I was talking more the offensive side. But yeah, you're right.
Okay, cool. All right, so there we go. That's pretty much, to me, honestly, that's the game of the night. But we're going in chronological order. That'll start at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock for us on the West Coast. Can't wait to enjoy that one. And of course,
is it the game of the night because you think that the other series are over already?
No. I can't wait to talk to you about this next game. The next game I really don't know what to do with. It's because of all the narratives around it. And if the Raptors do win, it's just like when the Nets lost, right? I mean, you talk about the infinite scroll. I mean, it was like 30 tweets for every 30 seconds on my timeline, because everyone had to get off their jokes. Everyone had to get off their memes, right? And it just feels like it's going to be that type of crescendo if they lose. And sometimes Doc and these guys make it a little too easy for us as well. So, because we'll have to see the post game, right? Like, is Embiid who's he going to throw under the bus this time? Like, what excuse is Doc going to make? Like, what strip club will James Harden be seen at tonight? There's going to be so much fun stuff. So, but let's talk about this next one, because I'll tell you what, out of all the games, I have the least amount of conviction on my play here. Of course, it's the Phoenix Suns that will be in New Orleans taking on the Pelicans around the same line, plus 1.5 for the home team, the Pelicans, plus 102. Boy, even the Raptors took some money. It's plus 107 when we jumped on, plus 103 now. Pelicans are plus 102 here. I don't love the Pelicans here, but I do lean the home team making this go 7. But unlike the Philly game 7, where I think that anything can happen, I kind of think, the Pelicans get their feel-good win. This is the moment of their season tonight. And I also think it helps, right? Because I think if they lose tonight, it's 2 losses in a row, kind of dour. If not, they'll have taken the NBA's best team to 7 games in the first round. Boy, we got a lot to build on here. I think it really changes, like, the narrative and the feeling around the team if they are able to get the win tonight. At the same time, Phoenix has been the best road team in the NBA this year. I know Devin Booker's not out there, but Bridges looked great last game. Chris Paul, it's going to be interesting, right? He's kind of zigzagged on his performances, coming off a big performance. Does he zigzag back? Of course, that's going to be a question that they're going to ask. These, role players, Herb Jones, Alvarado, they seem to play so much better in the Smoothie King Center. I can't believe that's the name of the arena, but it is. So I lean towards the Pelicans, Tyler, but I'll tell you what, I can be persuaded on this one. So I can't wait to see what you guys think. Start with you, Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see the Pelicans picking up the win at home and forcing this to 7. I know it says Devin Booker's unlikely to play, But there were rumors that he may try and get out there tonight. He was walking off the floor last game yelling at the Pelicans, "I'm back." So I wouldn't be surprised for some late news where maybe he suits up and plays 15 to 20 minutes.
They said they said that he's listed as out, but they wouldn't be surprised if before game time.
He's doubtful right now on Basketball Monster.
Yeah, everyone's preparing.
He gets questionable tag or something like that. So yeah.
I mean, I think if you're gonna use him, you use him in the way Golden State used Steph Curry. Let him come off the bench and just work the second unit and just beat up on those guys. Don't go out there and try and make him take on Herb Jones with a bad hammy.
Yeah, but
last 6 minutes, right? Last 6 minutes of every quarter. Let him get out there, get him his run. I don't know. Maybe who knows? Maybe he's good to go. Maybe he's just ready to go. You never know. It is weird though. If he was fully ready to go, wouldn't he be listed as questionable right now? Wouldn't he be listed just in? So that's where are they waiting for him to warm up? I mean, this game's at 7:30. Are they waiting for him to get out there a few hours before game time, get in the first workout and say okay,
see how that hammy feels?
Yeah. See how the hammy's feeling. So
JSU, our basketball professor, our teacher, Gregory Russo, says that there's no way that Booker plays. So
our teacher.
Yeah.
I will ask Gregory Russo for forgiveness. I will ask him before I give my plays of the day.
Hopefully he upgrades
if I'm allowed,
exam.
if they're okay, if they're blessed by Gregory Russo. I hope
we'll have to go into his office hours and see if we can work this out.
Gregory Russo knew nothing about the three away winners I gave last time on this show. 3-0, and Big T and Spread were against me. All three games they were against me.
That's true.
I got no love. Tyler, you weren't on this show for a reason, so that I blame you for this because
was this last Thursday?
When you were on the show
last Thursday, you would have at least brought a little reason to the table as me, Spread, and Tony.
I was just so excited to see Tony, man. I just, I hadn't seen him in a while.
Yeah, and so Spread just kept going on Tony's side. Yeah. They were locked arm in arm running through the fields together. And I'm standing there by myself.
On the show, I was on the injury report, though. He didn't want me needling his Vorp King.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
All right, so how are you approaching this game from a betting perspective, though? Do you think the Suns or the Pelicans win, JSU?
Yeah, I think this series is going to end tonight. I think the Suns at 2.5. I think they're the bet for sure I'm going to take. And I just feel to me, whether Booker plays or he doesn't, Phoenix is they're still the better team. They're still the better team. Pelicans, though, are respectable. I didn't give them as much credit coming into this series. Before the Booker injury, I didn't give them the credit that they deserve because they have played, in my mind, respectable basketball against the team that I see as the superior team in the West and maybe all of basketball. I don't know, but just the way they play defense, how deep they are, all this stuff, the Phoenix Suns, I feel they have just such a good kind of all the role players fit in well, in my opinion. And I mean, it's just, I think it's going to be a little too much for them, even in their home floor. CP's been amazing. You get any type of role player to give you some type of big game, not even what Mikal Bridges did, but anything even close to that, they're going to win, right? When those games happen, it could be Cam Johnson today. Maybe Cam Johnson goes out and hits 7 threes. It could be Jay Crowder. When those type of guys are doing close to that for you, being another guy for you to lean on, that's a wrap for a lot of these teams, right? Maybe not the Bucks, maybe not if they play the top tier teams, but for these teams like the Pelicans, they cannot have Mikal Bridges or those other guys going off. They need it to be frustrate CP as much as you can. If he gets off, that's okay, but the role players cannot get off like that. When that happens, it spells trouble. And I just think they're just too good, honestly. The role players haven't played that good in the series, in my opinion, especially offensively. We finally got a good game out of Bridges, but just wait. Cam Johnson is much better. Jay Crowder hasn't played that well in the series, in my opinion, especially offensively. He's going to have a big game coming soon. Like, I expect the Suns to handle their business, get done with this team, whether Booker plays or not. But you know what I mean? Whatever you think about the Booker thing, I'm under the assumption, though, Spread, like, he's out until they show me he's in, right? Like, you just bet this game as if Booker was out. Don't, you know, if that's what's keeping you on the Pelican side right now is like Booker, you know, if Booker's in, I'm going to be on the Suns. If Booker's out, I'm going to be on the Pels. Like, for right now, you should just stay on the Pels if that's how you're looking at this game. I think either way, they win this game, they handle the business, and they get done with the Pels here. Even in a close game, I still think the Suns get it done.
All right, our guy Matt, Mr. New to Town. I agree with him on this last part. He says, I think Pels are better than Suns without Booker and Herb Jones guarding Chris Paul. This is what I really agree with, though. Ingram becomes the X factor. JSU Ingram, 9K tonight. How are you approaching him? Like, do you think he has a big night? And what do you think of that 9K price tag?
Yeah, he pissed me off. I had him on all my teams last game, and it's just you know, I mean, he was fine, but like just didn't get you over the top in DFS, obviously. He's got to be. I agree with the X factor standpoint, but you need like look at these games right here. I mean, you need him to have 30. Like, he needs to be that type of effective from the perimeter scoring. And yeah, Herb combined with Alvarado. I think Alvarado's been so good too, just kind of being the frustration gnat that like CP usually is, right? To the other team, right? Like,
he's the guy that people think Patrick Beverly is.
Yeah, no, he's the real deal though.
Yeah.
Like, Alvarado is the real deal. Patrick Beverly's like the fake deal. Like,
yeah,
Patrick
but
Beverly's
he's like really doing it.
Patrick Beverly's like the guy that casual people watch and just be like, oh, wow, he made one good. Okay, he's a good defender. Like, he made one good play. The crowd's all over him. Like, Alvarado's just like that guy that you just know he's good right when he's up, like instantly when he gets up in Chris Paul's grill and he's picking him up and he's like all over him. I mean, we don't see that. Like, people don't do that to Chris Paul. I don't.
Right.
You guys have been watching basketball. How many times do you see people just in his shit like that? You don't see it because Chris Paul always uses it to his advantage and draws fouls on them. He's so tactical with how he tries to attack over aggressiveness with people. And that's where that famous, like, I don't know if you remember, he made it, in my opinion, really famous with like backing up to people in the free throw line when he get him on the hip as he's coming up the floor. And then they'd like fall, like push him over and he'd fall down and he'd draw those fouls, or the ones where he'd flail, like he made a lot of those like fouls and stuff like that. That was CP who was doing all that shit. And he can't even get out. Alvarado is like so good. That's where you know, like, this kid is the real defender, like real deal. So I agree. Him and Herb, tough defenders. That's why I'm saying, like, the Pels, they might have something here with this team. Like, not this year.
I think so too. Yeah.
But like, man, everyone was shitting on the CJ. You know who you are too, Everett. I'm sure like half the people in chat.
I was
not just talking the spread, you know, except for Gregory Russo, because he knows all about basketball. So he knew this trade would work. But
his new name is the Professor, okay, JSU?
Yeah, I like that.
Professor Russo. Yeah.
Professor Russo knew the CJ McCollum trade would work out, but everyone else who didn't. I mean, I think this team is going to be a team that is going to, you know, if those young dudes can develop. I mean, imagine Herb Jones once he gets like a solid offensive game.
Imagine if Zion was just there right now.
How is he not playing?
That's what I mean.
Windmills
like,
and 360s.
If he was in there right now, I honestly think they win the series. Because I think that's another X factor on top of that. Because now it's not, we only have to stop Brandon Ingram. Now you got this bowling ball coming at you. So it's like, what do you do now? And
he's like, how do you like? It's not like it's easy to be like, we can just throw like Mikal Bridges. Like, you can't. Like, you can't throw like any of those Cam Johnson. Like, you can't throw those guys on him. Like, it still wouldn't work. He's, like Tyler said, he's too big. So he would have been like the X factor for sure if he was at, what would they do? Would they just push Joe Val out? That'd be their best
I think that'd be
right?
the best thing to do is push Joe Val out and let him run the center spot because I don't think Ayton's got the lateral quickness to stay in front of him.
I don't think so either. I agree with that too.
But I think of all the points you make, JSU, that really goes back to what Matt said and what I'm saying too. It comes down to Ingram because they got everything else there. And they need Ingram to be that dude. He's shown flashes of it. We're like, wow, he could be that dude, you know? Then he's had some games where he's fallen back a little bit. And obviously he's going against real good defenses. But, you know, we've seen it with the guys that are that dude. They'll beat any defense. So they need a big night from Ingram tonight. So, I mean, I'm excited to watch this game. I'm not as excited to bet on it. On the first game, I love the total. This one, I think the total's pretty good. I might even lean over here because I think it's going to be a fast-paced game, and it's only a 215 here. But I really don't love it there. Tyler, do you have any thoughts on the total?
Yeah, I mean, small lean to the under just because Suns play great defense. Mm-hmm. And if New Orleans wants any chance in this game, they're going to have to slow these Suns guys down. Yeah. So I'd lean more towards the under, but
it probably correlates with who you like too. If you like the Pelicans, you like the over. If you like the Suns, you like the under.
Yeah, it is probably one of those games. Yeah, definitely see that. It'd be one of those games I'd be surprised to see the Pelicans win and it stay under 214.
Yeah, that's a great point. JSU, anything more on this game before we go to the nightcap?
No, I like it. What's a Chris Paul? What's like a Chris Paul double and win?
Plus 132.
Plus 132.
Ayton's double and wins plus 190.
Okay. Yeah, I think I like the Chris Paul one a tad more, but yeah.
What's his price here? I know he was about 7,900 last time. What is
he's like nine? He's in the 9Ks.
He's at
who? CP?
Yeah, 9.
Yeah, no, he's been 9. He's been like in that 9 or 8K range for most of the series, right?
Well, before Booker was out, he was like the.
He went from 7.6 to 8.3 to 8.9 to 9.3 to 9K, and now he's 9.3 again tonight.
Who would you rather have tonight, Ingram or CP?
I think CP. I think he ultimately just has a little higher upside than Ingram, personally. But again, though, I agree with the chatter. I forget who it was who said like Ingram the X factor. Yeah. I liked Ingram last game. He just didn't get it done. I think you can go right back to him though. I agree with that. The problem with this slate is for DFS, there's not as much clear value. And I think that just brings people into playing some bad plays personally for DFS. So that's where I don't want to get too crazy with how many spend ups. I haven't built my teams yet, but we'll get into it more when we go on for the NBA show, the final countdown later tonight. But I think roster construction is really, really interesting because, if you like Luka, is he your only spend up? If you're spending up for two dudes though, like Luka and CP or CP and Brandon Ingram, you're going to have to find a little value somewhere. So you're going to have to play someone who's pretty risky or who's just everyone or the cheap value that everyone's going towards. And I hate playing chalk value like that on these type of slates.
All right, and I can't wait to watch the final countdown. If you guys are not watching, I don't know what you're doing. Head on over to runpuresports.com. Use that promo code GetBets. And JSU, I usually listen, right? I throw the headphones on. I'm around the house, so I'm not in the chat. But I love listening to you guys break down the games, and it's a lot of fun. If you're not involved, you got to make sure you check that out. Runpuresports.com, promo code GetBets. And Glaucoma, if you're still in the chat, man, I might just bring you on for this segment, man. Let's go ahead and celebrate. I think tonight is the night that we finally get rid of this Jazz team that's been a plague on the NBA for the last 3 seasons, dominating the regular season, putting up these net ratings that when you model, they're going to say, take the Jazz every single night when they're at home. Always take the Jazz. The Jazz are these great teams. Did you turn on your TV that night and you go, my model must be broken because this is not the best team in the NBA. And I'm so sick of this team. They don't get along. I think I'm higher on Rudy than you guys, but I think that he's the stepdad that's paying for everything. And then, he's doing all this. And then the kids are just blaming him for everything, right? It's he's sitting there, he's cleaning up all their messes, paying for everything. These guys cannot stay in front of anybody. And you look at Donovan Mitchell's effort on defense. It has been it's been disgraceful in my mind, really disgraceful. The idea that you're out there and you're really competing your hardest, and that's the effort you're putting. And if you look at Donovan Mitchell, the first year when he came in the league, people going against him were averaging 42% from the field. Now this season, it's up to 49%. He's turned himself into an all-offense guy. He used to be a great defender. He simply doesn't care anymore. He just wants his stats. He wants to go. He wants Tyler to buy his jersey. He wants it to say New York Knicks, and Tyler and all the Bing Bong fans are going to be loving him there. He doesn't want to be in Utah. Let's do this team a favor. Let's get rid of them. Let's end it tonight. I'm on the Mavericks. Tyler, what's up?
I mean, this is an easy one, spread. Luka's going to punch him in the mouth tonight, run the offense all through Utah, and send him home. And as for the Rudy Gobert thing, I think I'm right around the same with you, spread. I'm pretty high on him. I think him in the right situation could be a problem. Like, you put him on this Dallas team where the 4 other guys are going to guard their guys on the 3 line. Mind you, they might funnel him down to him and he has to do a little bit of work, but he's not chasing them out to the 3 line and doing everything else. I think he turns Dallas into an even better defensive team. And if him and Luka did not like each other, he would throw Rudy lobs the entire time, and Rudy would average like 15 and 15. So I think he's just in a bad spot with a score-first guard. And this Dallas team is just going to take it to him again tonight. The total's at 210. I don't hate playing the under here again because Luka's going to walk it up the floor and take his good old time setting up the offense. Mm-hmm. He might put up big numbers, but it's going to take like a low-scoring game, I think. But yeah, Dallas -1 in Utah. I know they've only won once there in the last couple of years, but they're getting win number 2 here and they're sending them home. I like Luka's double-double and win also at +200.
All right. Tyler and I are on the same side. JSU, do you want to join us or what are we missing?
You're not missing anything except for what is Donnie Mitchell making up fake injuries? What is he doing that? Like, what's up with
it said both his quads are hurt. Like
hamstring and quads. Like hamstring and quads, but he's good. He's good to go for sure. So Donnie Mitchell throwing himself on the injury report. I think that this series ends for sure. I mean, the defense spread, you brought it up. I mean, Mitchell on defense has just been, it's just been tough to watch, right? Like you watch him on defense, there's just nothing. It just looks like no effort. I agree with Tyler. I think that the under might be a sharp bet too, but just because of the way Luka and them, play offense and takes the time and all that, bleeds the clock a little bit. But yeah, I mean, this game, this series, Dallas is winning this game. I mean, this is probably my favorite bet of the night, I would say, is this game for sure. So yeah, give me Dallas. It's only a 1-point spread. Like, I'll take them all day here in this spot. Rudy, it's just not a good matchup for him either. They're really making him kind of look bad. And I agree also that, like, if you put Rudy with Luka, yeah, he probably looks a little bit better because those lobs are Luka. All he does, if you think about it, all Luka does is step back threes and then pick and rolls where he's either lobbing it up or finishing with like a layup or a foul, right? That's all he's doing, right? It's very simple off pick and roll. He likes those step back threes. He likes them off the dribble too. He's not as much of like a catch off wing and shoot guy, right? He likes the ball. He likes to step back, side. He does all those threes, and he likes to step using his dribble. Like, that's all he's doing though. So like it would fit Rudy Gobert really well. The problem is, like, Mitchell doesn't want to pass it to Rudy that much either. That's the other thing. But Rudy can't create his own offense. That, like, we're talking like he's like a super good big. You don't want to give Rudy like post ups or anything like that. So, all he is like a rebounder who can dunk.
I'd say he's a better defensive version of what DeAndre Jordan was on the Clippers. Just a lob threat, and you can just kind of play defense. Can't really do much else.
Yeah, Chris Paul would make him look good too. That's a great.
Yeah, Chris Paul would make him look good. I would say I think DeAndre Jordan might be a little more athletic. Like,
I could agree there. He definitely had the athleticism.
But with Rudy's wingspan, I mean, he can catch anything. I mean, he should be out there. He's
just a stiff, though. You know what I'm saying, though? Like, CP wouldn't want to play with this. CP wouldn't want to play with. He's just a big stiff. guards don't like playing with stiffs. Like no one likes playing with. I remember playing with a dude who was 6'8", and he was just. I mean, he was a monster. We were 13 or 14 years old. He would tower over dudes, but he moved his feet like he'd just trip over his own feet constantly. Like literally running up the floor would trip over his own feet. And you're just like, it was the worst playing with him. He could barely catch. He would fumble. Like you hate playing with those type of guys. Just guys that, I don't know, you worry about throwing the ball up to. CP would definitely not like it because CP would be like pissed every time he'd like fumble a pass or like you want sure-handed dudes. Rudy Gobert is not. I think he is DeAndre, but DeAndre's better than him at the offensive side. He's just better at defense.
Yeah. All right. That's all fair. Let's go ahead and look at DraftKings here. I mean, it's like I want to ask you, like, is Luka the best spend up? But when we're looking at the slate, Luka's 11, Embiid's 10-4, and then Chris Paul's all the way down at 9-3. So it's almost like Luka or Embiid, right? When you're really talking about best spend up of the night. How are you approaching this? You mentioned it earlier, man. I think it's going to be hard to get him in there. Am I going to regret it because I don't want to punt on a 3K guy? I don't want to run a guy down there. Am I going to regret it if I don't go with Luka? Because really feels like you're going to get a lot of sacrifices to get him in that lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the best spend, clearly. And I said it for this whole series. Like, Joel Embiid, even the games he's been good, right? Good, like, for fantasy purposes, I'm talking about. 54 fantasy points, right? Like, okay, fine. I don't lose if he gets 54. Look at these games, though. Like, he is not doing what you want for a guy who's 10-4. Like, I think Luka is just so much of a better play than Embiid. So the question is, are you paying up for Luka, or are you going down to like that 8 and 9K range? That's the question. It's all going to depend on what you see for value and your build. Because, you know, right now, I don't see like a ton.
I don't see a lot of value.
But I will say,
like Toronto, is that where I'm going for value? Like,
well, listen, I will say, we played these 2 game slates yesterday, and not a lot of people saw some values that I'll give my guy Big T was on it with Troy Brown, Javon.
Yeah,
Carter,
that was unbelievable. Troy Brown. I'm listening to that. Like, I'm just like
Marcus Cousins. Maybe you could say he got a tiny bit.
I'm like the rest of the squares. I'm like Troy Brown.
But I'm saying like the value is not always like obvious, right? You got to kind of pick it up. You got to kind of know a little bit about basketball when you look at the Bulls and you're like, okay, who's going to shoot outside shots for them? They have no shooters outside of like Kobe White on that team. So who's going to hit outside shots? And we saw it right off the bat. It was bricks left and right. Like the only dude who hit one early was like Pat Williams. Everyone else is just bricking threes. And so, like, what did they do? They had to get guys in there who they trusted to at least take the shots. And, man, Troy Brown was chucking, right? Like, if you watch that game, that first quarter, he was launching threes. They just weren't going in, but he was launching them. I couldn't believe it. They were wide open looks, too.
You know who I like for straight chucking? Jordan Clarkson, man. Even when he doesn't get there, you feel like, well, at least you gave it your best.
I got another chucker for you, and if they get blown out tonight, he's going to get run.
Who?
Devontae Graham at 3,200.
Oh, all right. What do you think of that, JSU? Is he doing a good job of finding that hidden value there?
Yeah, he is a chucker. I don't think they get blown out is the problem.
And I don't think you abandoned the blowout. I don't think you abandoned the lineup on the blowout.
That's the other thing, too. This is a young Pelicans team. They would have to be losing by like 30, right? Like it'd have to be like a 30-plus point game, I think, for them to just completely throw in the towel.
Let's say he does throw him in there, though. How many points does he need for that to be a good play? 25?
Well, I mean, yeah, if he's, I don't know, if he gets you 20, like you're not mad at 32.
Yeah, but I say his 2 home games in this series, he had 13 minutes and 13 minutes. He put up 13 fantasy points in 21.
Yeah. I mean,
all right. Well, he did talk about the final countdown and how Big T is so good at finding those. So remember to be involved with that. Become a member of runpuresports.com. Then, you get the private link. You can go ahead and watch it there, and then you ask your questions in the Discord, and they will answer them on the show. And the best part, well, not the best part. The best part is you guys breaking down the game. But a fun part is when Holden reads the same question 3 or 4 times.
Holden killing the show every way he can. My guy. I love Holden.
So, yeah, if you want to be a part of all that fun, make sure you become a member. All right, I think we got those broken down. Before we do Best Bets, JSU, is there any more like basketball that we need to talk about before I see you next week? Is there any general thoughts that I
think we hit on most of the potential series.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
You got any draft nuggets for us tonight? You got any insider knowledge?
I will say I haven't been as tuned into the draft process or these drafty guys as normal years, just because I was so into these playoffs.
I am too, man. I barely paying attention. Also, the Raiders traded their first round pick, so that kind of got me out of it as well.
That's your team, the Raiders?
Yeah, I love the Kings and the Raiders at JSU.
Okay.
How do you think I got into gambling? Rooting for my team is no fun.
Hey, I don't know. I didn't know. All right, the Raiders. I didn't know. Hey, they could have a nice little year. We'll see what happens with Darren Waller.
I think it's going to be fun. Oh, they're keeping him no matter what. I think it's going to be fun no matter what.
Sure.
Yeah, there's no
unless
way.
they pull the rug out from under him. They gave him the A-OK. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I can't believe. I would be really surprised. So, all right, that's Tyler.
Really interesting.
Yeah, well, of course, if you are a member of Run Pure Sports, they will be in there, and the Keg just kills it when it comes to live betting these type of events. And I don't know how he does it. I don't even think you could teach it. Like Gregory Russo's the professor. He's teaching us basketball. I don't even know if Keg could teach this. It's just this like innate thing he has. But if you are a member, make sure that you are subscribed to the Keg Live Bets channel because I don't know how he finds these winners, but he's going to do it again tonight, and we're going to be in shock. I also don't know how Tyler finds some of these winners, but he does it. Let's give them to the people now. Tyler, give it to us.
I'm going to roll with I'm going to leave the Dallas play for you spread because I know you want it or JSU wants it. I'm just going to take the player performance double. Give me Luka double and win plus 190.
All right. Sounds good. What do you got, JSU?
I'm following my 3-0 from last week's show. That's 3-0, Greg. That's 3 winners to no losses, all right? Get 3-0 once in your life and then come back to JSU, and then I'll call you the professor, all right? It's the playoffs. You got to pick the whole card. Come on, Tyler. We got to pick the whole card here. You got to give 3 winners. There's 3 games.
I got 3. I got 3 lined up for him, and it's 15-1. So
all right, there we go.
Yeah, we come back around. We give that at the very end to keep the viewers here.
Perfect. We'll come back at the
everybody
end.
Leaves.
That's the big money parlay. Tyler's got it cooking. So we're going Toronto, Dallas, and Phoenix. All 3 of them. We're getting 3-0 again here. 3-0 Thursday for JSU. It's going to be good money tonight. And then I'm going to put in whatever prop Tyler's got cooking for us. Unless it's got Philly. If it's got Philly, I'm turning it around.
You killed it right there.
It's going to have Philly. I can already tell. My best bet is the Dallas Mavericks. We're ending the scourge upon the NBA. That is this Utah Jazz team. I'm on the Mavericks tonight. That's my best bet. But if we're picking all 3, I'm going Toronto, New Orleans, and then Dallas. So we'll be a little opposite there. We can do some bragging rights next week. See if maybe I can be the one going 3-0.
Wait, did you go against me?
On one game?
Spread.
Hey, like Big T said in his tweet about golf, you can't just sit there and agree with each other the whole show.
It's a good point.
Nobody wants to watch a show where I go, JSU said this, so I'll take that, right? But I'll tell you what, that's the one.
I deal with Big T on a daily basis. You know what I mean? I deal with him on it, and we're always against each other half the time fighting. So you see, he comes on this show one time, and he's against me the whole show.
And all of a sudden he's a producer. Not only is this guy cashing $1 million, he's a TV producer now too. He wants to give you tips. He's your agent there.
I already told him no. I already told my boss no. Boss, go back in the wings. See, Spread, what he's doing right now, he's patrolling all the chats. He's watching all the shows. He's critiquing everybody on the shows right now. Get ready. when I'm not on, he'll start attacking you and Tyler next. It's just what happens.
He's just ranking us our group.
He shouldn't. I'm a fair target. Don't go with Tyler, man. He's won too much money already this year. So, Tyler, speaking of all that money you won, right? You love it. The IRS loves it. You're paving streets in Pittsburgh with all the tax money you're paying. Give us the parlay for tonight.
We're just gonna go with the double parlay. Luka double in Dallas wins. Chris Paul double in Phoenix wins, and Joel Embiid double in Philly wins. That gets you 15-1.
You better go get a double from In-N-Out if you win.
Yeah,
do you even have that out there?
No, I'd have to order it from you.
I'll send you. I'll ship it to you. West Coast Gym. We'll go through UPS.
Yeah, I think the closest one to me is like Texas.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll fly you out there. And fortunately for us, JSU, our professor says he's going to help us learn a lot here. So thank you to everybody in the chat today. There was a lot of fun on this show. I couldn't even get all the great comments up, but I appreciate all the lively interaction we have. Of course, JSU, thank you for coming on, spending some time with us, giving out the winners as usual. And I know you have to go get ready for that final countdown show. Remember, if you're not watching, runpuresports.com, promo code GETBETS. To get access, jump in the Discord, ask questions that Holden can answer 14 different times. So, he wants me to move to Florida where I can get tutored more often. So, all right. Thank you, Greg. I'll look into that. I'm a little worried about the humidity. I've lived in California my whole life. 110 doesn't bother me. 50% humidity, I'm dead. So, all right. Anything more for the people before we get out of here, JSU?
No, it's been a fun show. Like you said, I got another show in about an hour with the man himself, Big T, who trolls me no matter where I go. I can't get away from him. He's just like one of those nagging people. He's just dragging you. He's just pulling me down constantly. All right. I mean, Tony, just give me a break here for a second. Let me breathe. I got to deal with you in about an hour and Holden on top of it. I got to deal with both of you guys. You should see Tony and Holden too. The best part about the show is when Holden literally fakes listen to Tony's story and then just pretends like he doesn't, he didn't listen to it. It just glosses over it completely. It's the best part of the countdown.
He's like this. He's like, great story, Tony. Anyways, JSU.
That's what he does. Dude, literally, that's what he does.
Story, Tony.
You're not even, we're trying to have stories.
It's like a sedative.
He hates story time spread. I mean, he hates it.
I don't know why. I usually think they're pretty good stories too, right? I mean,
I think people like story time. I don't know about you, but I mean, again, would you just want to hear people come on and just be like, I like the Celtics tonight,
I like the Suns.
The Suns are good too. People don't want to listen to that shit. People want to actually be entertained as they listen to some winners too. They want both.
Yeah, according to Tony, this is how the other shows go. I think you should consider Doncic, Embiid, Paul, Siakam, Harden, Ingram, Mitchell, McCollum.
Well, list everyone in a line down the list. Don't make any stands, and you've got the shows from like literally every other site, every other person out there who don't play. By the way, they also don't play or bet their money on shit. So we bet our money on shit and pick real winners here. Or at least some of us do. We can't all be right all the time, but hey, we try.
Yeah, Greg, we'll take the L. We took the Nets, But hey, we're not letting you victory lap this one more time, right? Like by next Thursday, take the running shoes off.
Pick another winner, dude. Like, come on. Like, is that your only – seriously, like it's almost to the point where I feel bad for him. Like, I hope he picks a winner. Like, I hope he picks another winner here. I'm sure he'll pick the Bucks. I think he's a Bucks fan.
He's on me. So me and him will be on the same side the next series.
He's a Bucks fan though. Yeah. So I don't know if it's like fandom or if it's the Bucks. So like
he doesn't roast Titletown.
It's got to just be like a
titles. Everything's right when title talks. So.
Were you surprised about that line, by the way? Just wondering before we get off the Bucks Celtics line, like when it opened.
No, I loved it. That's why I knew I was going to be taking the Bucks because I knew.
No, I'm saying though, were you surprised by it?
No, I thought the Celtics were going to have a ton of market love, especially with the Middleton news. I mean, the Celtics are coming off one of the most dominating performances we've seen in a playoffs against a team that had expectations, right? I mean, blowing out the Bulls, whoop-de-doo, right? I mean, we all said after that game one, right? What we say, this is going to be a classic series. This is going to go down to the wire. every game is must-see TV, and there was only one good game, right? So
it is
What, in the
amazing
Boston
that
Nets series?
game one was
Yeah.
supposed to set up like the most amazing
we were on
series
here
ever.
saying this is
and
going to
just
be so good.
I mean, the other 3 games, I wouldn't call like they weren't blowouts. Like the other 3 games were good to watch.
The
like,
Nets had a chance in that game too. They were winning for 3 quarters almost, and then the crowd, everything. They
the
went.
way
on
it
the
sounded like
run
spread
and-
phrase, that was like, yeah, game 1 was good, game 2, 3, and 4 were just bad.
No, but
Okay, I'm just
I
mad 'cause
agree
I
with
lost my
Fred though
bet.
that game 1 made it set up for it to just be this like amazing.
Like we'll be talking about it 5
series.
years from now.
Yeah.
Big T wants on.
Get
All right,
out of
you know
here,
what?
Big T.
I'll
No,
bring him on.
no. Oh God, I got to hear him twice in one day.
I'm
We're gonna be
sending
here.
them the
We're gonna
link
be
right
here
now.
till like 6 o'clock. Just
I'm
turn this
sending
into
them the
the
link
countdown
right
show.
now.
Bring
I'm
Holden
ducking
on.
my head out of this show. Right when he comes on, I'm just gonna duck my head right
He's
out.
like, I'm out of here.
All right, the link's in the chat, Big T. You can go ahead and you can go ahead.
Instead of
and
yelling
jump
at
on.
my screen.
I'm yelling at my screen right now. What are you yelling for? Poor
Yeah.
Amber.
Shit.
My God, poor Amber.
right,
How does
let's
she?
see. So-
How does she deal with you, Tony? I want to know. How does she deal with you?
It's all the money.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, when you win 6 figures like once a week, it's like probably pretty easy to put up with it, right?
The life of Big T. We know nothing
Yeah.
about that. The professor might know something about that type of money. We know nothing about that type of money, though. Big T.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right.
where is
man,
he?
Hurry
Yeah,
up, get in
man.
here, Big T, because we pretty much did the whole show already. We're gonna have to I don't know, preview Memphis, Minnesota tomorrow until Big T comes
Just
on.
go. I told you, just bring Holden on. We'll just turn this into the Up the Lock show.
Yeah, we
Yeah, I
just
know.
literally just
Yeah.
flipped the show. We just
Like
we're
when you
both
guys had to switch to our channel last Sunday because the MLB booted you.
Screw it. We'll do the final countdown from this show. We'll just literally run it right. We could talk. I swear to God, we could sit here for 3 hours and talk hoops all the way up to lock.
Yeah.
Like that. That's the other thing too. Like there are no way that people can't do that. They don't know what to say. Like I could get on here and literally talk actual basketball. I mean, we're talking about bets. We're talking about actual basketball. But like I could just talk actual basketball with you guys, and I know you guys could too, for like literally like 2-3 hours and have plenty to talk about.
Here he is.
There he is.
What are you yelling about, man? We're just giving out great takes and winners, Big T.
I was liking the winners portion, but then you started talking about the Bucks. They don't get to play a team with no 3-point shooting this time. I mean, they were playing a handicap team last.
So
this
you're on the
series.
Boston train?
on
Oh,
the Boston train.
Boston's going to be the
That's what I
easiest
like to
bet
hear.
of the playoffs. Like,
Yeah.
Easiest
So
bet of
Tony,
playoffs.
wait, this is bad though, because
Easier-
now we've got 3 of the 4 on the panel on the Boston side, and
Yeah.
only 1 of the panel.
that's why I needed to come on to get us over the winner line. We couldn't be.
You guys
we
can
couldn't
all,
be
you
on the
guys can
verge.
all- you guys can all beat me up, but they're not going to be able to punk Giannis the way they punk Kevin Durant. Jason Tatum was looking jacked next to him, right? Durant's looking hella thin, like he's like a heroin
You're right
user.
about that part.
And Tatum looked like he just came out of the gym. Giannis his shoulders are going to be next to Tatum. Like, bro, you're not going to just be pushing me around here. I can't wait to see that series. They're not just going to roll over like the Nets. Nets don't have a Bobby Portis, right? That wants to fight. And was he the one that slapped himself before the game and said, "You insulted my mom to get ready for the game"? I mean, they got Grayson Allen out here kicking people in the nuts. This is not going to be. This is not
Getting his
gonna
home
be that-
crowd to boo. I too like it. Should be the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, man, it is going to be good as far as that.
Do you
Did
think
his-
so?
did
You
his
don't think
teammates
Miami's got a
boo him?
chance against either of them?
I don't.
They
I guess
go-
Miami probably has a chance against anyone with their style, but I don't know. I
I mean,
think
we're
so.
just writing Miami into the Eastern Conference Finals, right? Neither Toronto or
Yeah, Miami's there.
Philly's beating
Yeah.
them, right?
Philly looks like they're self-destructing in front of our eyes. The playoffs just beat teams, right? Like you just by the end of some series, you're just like, man, that team is defeated. They just don't have a chance. That's kind of how Philly looks. So, who was everybody on the? That was before I started watching. Who was?
So I like
everyone on
Toronto
Philly?
there. What do you think for tonight? I don't know about Game
Yeah.
7, but I think they win.
I think
tonight.
we
What do you
got
think,
2
Big T?
Toronto, and then Tyler was on Philly.
I went
tonight.
Philly. I think they want to finish it up because they know Miami's done. Get and beat a little bit of rest.
Believe it or not, I always have strong takes. I don't have a strong take on the Toronto game.
Really? Okay.
I don't know. Like I kind of want to pick Toronto, but
Doesn't it worry you guys though that like in these spots, like normally when the underdog wins, like the team that's down in the series, it's when everyone's lining up on the other side to bet it. Well, everyone's lining up to bet Toronto tonight. That kind of makes me think Philly punches them right in the mouth tonight.
I agree with you, but man, they look depleted too. I don't know. I definitely think it should be a good game though. I really don't have a strong take on anything tonight except spreads Dallas team. I just can't see Utah getting off the mat. I just can't. I hope they do for my series bet. I did bet Utah obviously for the series, but man, they look bad. They look real
Dallas
bad.
is wrapping this one up, Tony. They're wrapping this one up.
Wrapping it up tonight.
What
about the Pelicans? What about the Pelicans? What do you want to do there? I told
the Pelicans can win again. I do. I don't have a strong take. If I had to pick, I would pick the Pelicans. I think I like them at home. I think it's a 7-game series. I don't know. I don't feel tons of conviction about it though.
I think the one game that we probably all agree on, or the one series out of the 3, is the Dallas one. I think the other 2 are definitely harder series to kind of pick. All I'm going to say about Toronto, though, is they have no pressure on them. The pressure is all on Philly.
They are free rolling.
Give me the free
It's like the night after you ship like $200K, right? When you're making those lineups, you're like, does it really matter?
It is true how it works like that. When you have a good night, you definitely have a lot less stress for sure.
No, when you hit like 6 figures like that, it feels like like you're just
not even 6 figures. Like you have a good night. Like even last night, it wasn't the total nuts, but we had a few good calls. You just feel better today. I believe in stuff like that. Everyone that's listening to me knows that, like momentum and mojo, and you get rolling. There's a reason heaters exist, and I believe in them. Like even picking winner, like Tyler gets on a roll with these parlays and stuff, and everyone's tailing them, and it's just you get that momentum going. Sometimes it goes the other way too, where you got a little downslide. You just need one winner, one thing to turn the tide. Like the beginning of the playoffs, I think I lost I'm still down a bunch of units as far as betting in the playoffs, and I just needed one day, and since then I've been winning a little bit. But man, it's all momentum.
Let me ask you about the Pelicans game, Tony. If I'm putting a spend up in there, Ingram or CP3, who would you rather have?
Man, I love this series. First of all, I think are they exact same price? I haven't.
I think basically 930 to 900.
I think CP3 is definitely a better play, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ingram has a good game tonight, and they're going to focus on CP. I don't know. That's going to be a good game. I mean, New Orleans has impressed me a lot, and I don't know, but can Chris Paul? He's been great in the games they've won. I kind of agree with Tyler with the kind of parlay it like double with a win, or the other way. Like, I don't know, if he's bad, they're going to lose. Everything comes down to him. Obviously he's got to make it all happen. So
have you found the hidden value yet yesterday? Because I'll admit, when you were talking about Troy Brown yesterday, I'm like, what is going on? Troy Brown?
That was a good call. I'm going to give myself a bat pat. I don't pat myself on the back often. That was a good call yesterday.
You have to. Have you found another one? Because I told JSU I didn't see a lot today, especially because they're all elimination games. So it's not like there's any blowout run, right? Pelicans are down 20. I don't think they're pulling their guys.
Yeah, and there's a lot of teams today too that are going to play. Like Toronto and Philly are going to play basically 5, no bench really. Phoenix, I got the same guy as last time, and it's almost like the Boogie call last night, how we talked about Boogie. Like he kept getting 16, 15, 17 for that cheap price, which was fine, and he finally caught a little fire and just rolled. I like Whiteside again. I think there's some risk, but he's super cheap, and it's a similar play. He keeps getting like 15. And that's without the extra run. I mean, freaking Gobert's getting stung by bees and stuff.
You know that Mitchell likes Whiteside a lot better.
Yeah, he likes him
Tony,
better.
The only difference between Cousins and Whiteside, Cousins gets fed the basketball.
And he can
Whiteside,
shoot threes.
Well, Whiteside does not get fed, though. It's all
it's not the same.
He also doesn't fight his teammates.
It's still close to, though.
I mean, there's no value. I'm looking at it right now.
How much run do you think Devontae Graham gets tonight?
God, I just hate Devontae Graham as a player. He's been playing more and more, though.
I mean, if they got to put him in there for 3-point shooting late and he just starts chucking, he could score you like 20 points for 3,200.
Yeah, I mean, 12 minutes, 13. So you got pretty consistent blueprint with low teens minutes. Maybe he gets hot. My issue with some guys is I just think they're awful. He's one of them, and but it's right. I mean, on these slates, we've said it all week or all the whole playoffs on these shows. You got to take some chances with those cheap guys because I mean they're bad. Like Landry Shamet, 3,400. I mean, these Nance at 38 looks good, but that's a little more expensive.
What about the rookie Murphy?
I tried to make him happen at the beginning of the series.
I remember that.
He just doesn't quite get enough looks for me. He's good,
fading
though.
too, like minutes wise. He's fading. Like Larry Nance has got to be a better play than him.
Yeah.
Is there any way you can get up to Luka tonight? Is there enough value in there?
I
almost feel like the mid range is going to. You can get.
I've been sticking with these studs more. Yeah, I mean he's just clearly like the best play to me, like way above.
I think I found a guy you'll like.
Who?
He's played more minutes in Toronto. That Nang for
Danny Green?
No, Georges Nang. Niang, same thing.
Oh, Niang.
I mean, he's pretty much got to light it up from 3 for you, but
he said.
I mean, I'm not going to make fun of anyone that's 3,200, but he's slower than me.
He's the slowest of slow, Tony. We make fun of those Atlanta guys. He's like slower than all those guys.
He's cheap though. I mean, it's the point. Like you guys are saying, there's no value. You got to take it. One of these guys will do something. Last night, all those dudes. And the heartbreaking part last night was. All those values I loved hit, and then the guy I played the beginning of the series outscored them all. Gary Payton got all the runs.
Gary Payton
that was weird. His rotations were weird, man.
Because, you could just tell though they were riding a hot hand. Pool wasn't as hot too, so they were okay with like
just
someone
to
else.
Touch back on that Philly game. Spreads look alike in ref games that are going to Game 7.
Who's this? Look, the ref.
They call me Zarba.
He
they
looks
just
like
love
Zarba.
noodling me here in this chat.
Zach, they call you Zach Zarba, really?
Isn't that the worst? I hate that guy.
I don't even see it that much.
He got pissed about it for one day, so I just keep calling it.
2 weeks ago when he called 27,000 fouls in the first quarter.
Now I can't get it out of my head. Now I gotta look. Zach Zarba. I know who he is. Like I know I've seen him.
That's the absolute.
But
worst.
with this crew that's reffing tonight in Toronto. Teams looking to force a Game 7 are 1-11.
So he's the closer.
Yeah, he's the finisher.
Yeah.
One of these games in the last week they were saying that, and the team got crushed. Whatever game it was, I can't remember.
It was the Scott Foster 19-2.
The Boston game.
Yeah. Was it Game 3 or Game 4?
Game
4,
I think. All I'm saying is the narrative about no teams ever won coming back down 3-0. These are the type of stuff that the NBA could pile in on if Toronto wins tonight.
I think Philly wins. I'm going with Tyler. It takes me a minute to make my mind up. I'm
That's
going
what
with
I like
Philly
to hear.
But hey,
I like when you're against me. I like when Tony comes on.
You got Toronto?
I got Toronto. This is what you do too. And he says spread. How do you actually believe Tony didn't know I was on Toronto? What
According to him, he wasn't watching the show earlier. He was.
I was watching the end though. I did hear him make his picks at the end. He's right about that. I forgot about that part. I did watch that part.
He comes on just to try and
maybe it's just subconscious.
He got a show in an hour. He comes on just to
what's funner than talking some shit? I mean, that's the best part.
Hey, so Tony, can I just cross off Donovan Mitchell at 8,800? He's got a quad and a hamstring. See, the thing that sucks though,
I still don't believe he's hurt. I've been on this tangent on Twitter that he was faking the injury immediately because of how bad it was.
Why would he fake it?
Because he was getting his ass handed to him, and he was like wanted a built-in excuse. I refuse to believe he actually hurt. I watched the whole play. It like literally looked fake to me, even.
So you think he's on?
Doesn't matter though.
Donovan, Ben Simmons, Mitchell. That's what you're saying.
He was so bad in that game. How bad was he? Seriously, like he was horrendous.
9 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 for 15 shooting, 0 for 7 from 3, 4 turnovers.
As the stud of the team, like
Harden does that and hits the strip club an hour later.
Well, Harden's been getting killed too, though. Like he's been getting butchered as well you should.
Harden's lost a step. We saw it. Like we all seen it. Like he's lost a step. That was obvious.
Can you believe if they extend him? How that bad? That's going to be a bad contract.
For
What else
anybody.
are they gonna
He's
do?
done, man. Like everyone compares him to like Jordan, how Jordan partied and gambled all night. Jordan, like JSU said yesterday, 2% body fat. James Harden's fat. You can't
Yeah,
party
James
and
Harden's
do
big
that when
boy.
you're fat.
People don't realize how much of a freak Michael Jordan was. Like,
It's easy
he
to
was-
party when you're like that.
Yeah,
He was also
a
like Ric
freak.
Flair, where he'd drink till 2 a.m. and he'd be in the gym at like 6 a.m.
Yeah. Like, in my mind, Michael Jordan, LeBron James are two of the biggest freaks, and they are completely different freaks. Like, LeBron James is like big, massive freak. Like, we've never seen anyone like him. Michael Jordan was literally the opposite. Michael Jordan was skinny, but he was in really, really good physical shape and condition. He got a little stronger. You guys know the story, right? Like, he
got
was
beat up by the
weaker. He got
Pistons,
in the
started
gym,
lifting weights.
got
Yeah.
stronger. But the reason why it took him a little while was because he was 2% body fat. He didn't have any fat on him. Like, it's hard to develop strength and muscle when you don't have any fat. Like, that's why Michael Jordan was literally insane that way. Like, he was a hooper, but
That's why those highlights from like 83 to 86 are like ridiculous, because he was so thin he could get up so
thin.
high.
But that's why it took him so long. When you're that thin, like lean in body fat, it takes a really long time. Even if you have the best professionals in the world to train you and to help you, it still takes a long time to put actual muscle on when you don't have fat.
Tony, let me give you another question from that Pelicans game again, because I think that's where you really need to hit the nuts there to get this ship tonight. Joe Val or DeAndre Ayton, 79 to 75. Who would you rather have there?
I just keep playing Ayton more, but Joe Val, it just comes down to if he can stay on the floor, and he's crushed when he's been on. I just like Ayton more. I don't know. I think you can play them together, though, like on DK. They correlate pretty good together where Joe Val swallows up every rebound when he's in there, obviously. He could easily get 20 and 20 tonight, and I don't know. I like both of them a lot, but if I had to pick, I'd pick Ayton.
What about you, JSU?
I'd probably pick Ayton too. You had a good zigzag, Tony, where you hit that 60 nut when he was low on.
I've been all over those guys.
And then you zagged to Joe Val the next slate.
Yeah.
I don't know what you did the last slate. I can't remember if you
played
How many lineups out there are going to play both of them guys?
People don't do it much.
I don't think many.
I think
Who would you rather have, Tyler?
The slates. How good was my boy Joker? My man Joker made me proud. He went out there and got the job done. He was so freaking good in that game with an actual hamstring injury.
Did you see Dre's praise for him too? Wait a second, time out. You texted me saying fat guys don't get injured.
I was joking. That was sarcasm.
I'm like, Joker's grabbing his hamstring, and he texts me back. He's like, fat guys don't get injured.
They said that's the same arena where Jamal Murray got hurt. Now Jokic got hurt in it. They said that's where MPJ initially hurt his back. It's like, wow.
He was still good, though. I mean, he got hurt. It didn't look like it affected him too much when he was
It looked like it affected him for like a minute or two, and then he like ran it off or whatever.
Then he realized, though, I'm still bigger than everybody on the other side. I could still just push him out of the way.
After those first two games where he just got butchered with the refs, he was awesome the rest of the series.
I will say he did get more calls, in my opinion.
As well, yeah. I didn't complain the last three. He got a fair whistle, and if you're that good, you should always get a fair whistle. It's brutal.
Tony, does Minnesota beat Memphis tomorrow night at home?
I think they beat him. Don't get me tilted because freaking JSU's little smile with his sorry ass Memphis team. Like, I took the L with Utah. I was definitely wrong, but man, Memphis is just pissing me off. They suck.
That's called the plus 375 winner when this series ends 4-2, and Tony's still hating on it, even though I gave it to him. He didn't
got
listen
a horseshoe up your ass.
Well, dude, you got to admit, like, Minnesota's just handing these games over.
He knows it. He's just trying to rub
but
it
if
in my
you're
face.
fading this young team,
I know it.
has...
Okay, so listen, Tony, here's how a friend would do to a friend. So if you were on my side right now, right, and you had them 4-2 you bet them at that point, which I did. I have them as a bet.
You say losers make excuses and winners win. That's what you tell them.
I would be rooting for you for your ticket to cash. It's bad mojo.
I've been betting the other side. What do you mean it's bad mojo to root on my own bets?
Bad mojo to root against your bets. Wait, you're against me again?
I bet Minnesota every game in the series. I'm on Minnesota. I root for JSU all the time, but when I literally bet the other team, I can't root for them.
I didn't know you bet Minnesota for the series.
And every game.
You bet them a few games.
What price did you get for the series? Like a plus 200 something?
It was like plus somewhere around there. I'd have to look. Plus 180 maybe, plus 200.
Regardless, you can't say that was a bad bet. They should have already won. This series should already be over. Let's be honest, right? I mean,
it's painful.
Again, shoulda, coulda, woulda, blah, blah, blah.
You don't get to cash that ticket, believe me. I believe when it's the loser, you don't get the cheese, no matter how right it was.
Saying. Sounds like some excuses coming here. Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
That series has been just incredible, though. Like, how have they blown? I mean, God, they've been so much better than Memphis, and it's insane that they're down 3-2.
The amount of leads that they've blown, it's got to be over 100 points. I mean, it's just
easily has to be.
All right,
cool.
Do you got anything else for us,
Tony? Still stroking, Tony. You think it continues? Desmond Bain stroking?
Yeah, if they.
That's a showdown tomorrow night. It's a one-game slate. Tomorrow night, showdown slate.
Oh, I love this is the point where I love it. I've loved the last couple of weeks, but when it gets to 1 and 2 gamers, like yesterday, that was the first 2-gamer where it was like, it's game theory. We can game theory it up a little bit. 3 gamers are still, you wouldn't think there's that much difference, but it is a decent difference. Just you have so many options.
No, I think there is, because you look at tonight just between the 7 and 8K range. I mean, there's so many different options.
So many ways you can go. Like so many
especially
good plays.
If you don't play Luka and you go balance build, there's just so many different ways to attach. And that's why I can't wait to see you guys tonight there. Just like Holden, I just can't wait to hear these stories tonight, Big T.
That was when I was laughing the hardest when you gave the impression of him. He does it every time. He can't help himself.
Yeah, like one of the founders of the company, and he doesn't even have time to listen to your story.
What I think is the funniest part about it is you would think it's like almost like he does it on purpose, but I swear he doesn't.
I don't think he
does. No, he doesn't do it on purpose. He just is like that.
Yeah, it's genuine.
Tell me you couldn't see him though with his ex-wife, like sitting around the dinner table, she's telling a story, and he's just flat out not listening to her. Tell me you couldn't see that.
Exactly like what I do to my fiance every night, just like flat out not listening as I'm standing right next to her.
You at least listen when the games are off, right, JSU? It's only when the games.
They're never off spread.
I
run my shop spread. The TVs are always on hoops. All right, they're not on like friggin' Bachelor in Paradise.
I'm going to give advice to Johnny from a guy that's been married for over 10 years with 3 kids. You can always have the games on, but you still got to listen a little bit or they tend to get upset.
I think Holden needed that advice a little more.
Yeah, he get upset sometimes.
It was too late for Holden.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to work on that too. So thank you for the advice. All right, Big T. Anything else that you wanted to give out to the people before we jump off?
The final thing, because we were talking. I don't know if we finished talking about it, but man, Peyton finishing that lineup they finished with, he would have got killed. Kerr would have got killed for finishing with that lineup. But then Peyton actually played good, so no one can even say anything about it. He had some big shots. That was crazy. Their finishing 5 they went with.
You know what I love about Peyton? He's not afraid to go to the dunker spot either.
No, he's not afraid of it.
He's not covered on the 3 line. He'll go down to the dunker spot even though he's like 6'1".
And he'll go up and throw it down too. He doesn't care.
Yeah. I really like it. He's for all the Warriors fans, they get on Kerr so hard. I'm like, what do you want? I mean, the guy's winning championships and he's developing players at the same time. Look at all these guys that are getting better under him. I mean, if they wouldn't have blown that Wiseman pick, I mean, it could have been over.
Yeah, like think if they had even LaMelo, it was perfect. I remember doing the show with you guys before that, where we were like, they should take LaMelo.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Cool.
All right. Well, you want to let them know all the great content, and then we'll sign off. Big T, like, where can they find you? What are you doing this week?
Yeah, check us out over at Run Pure Sports. We've been doing a show. I gave my word. JSU, they gave his word. We're gonna do a show every day through the finals, no matter what. Even the showdown days, we're gonna do at least a quick video to talk about the showdown through the finals. Every single day, you'll see our ugly mugs. At least my ugly mug, and then Habib's pretty mug. And then everything else, we got UFC. I mean, every freaking sport. Golf. I think our golf team. I talk up everything we do, but golf is the one that I know for a fact we got the best team around, and just so deep, so good. Unless people faded Rom, then they're donkeys this week.
Imagine.
I mean, I don't want to go fully down that alley, or like you said,
we could definitely go fully down the golf.
We'll be on here for another 3 hours, like we always are talking. But
pull up the JSU teams. Pull them up right now. I want to show off my player pool. I want to show off that there's stands and takes and.
Spread. Do you ever play the golf, the PGA DFS golf?
No, I'm gonna have to jump in. I haven't played.
I'll just say it from.
I have no idea what's going on in golf. Like,
from an odds perspective, though, you'll understand this part though. Spread. So John Rahm was 3.5 to 1 to win the tournament. Everyone knew the next best grouping was 20 to 1, like all the dudes. So you got that big of a jump, and he was going to be chalk. So the whole dilemma of the week was just, do you play him or fade him? He came in 40% owned, but he was by far the best dude in the friggin' field by a mile. And people just always want an excuse to fade spots like that when you just take the free square.
Oh, I love that.
Instead of in your head thinking he's 38% owned or 40% owned, 60% faded, the best play on the slate by far. So you're already ahead.
And they always think he has to win is the annoying part. He doesn't have to win. Once he makes the cut, it's going to be hard for him not to get you a decent return.
The thing with plays like that, though, I think personally, it's wrong not to take a full stand on a play like that. You just lock him in and you just take your chances. You ride with him, or you don't, and you just literally fade. I respect more people who say I'm either locking him in or completely fading him, because at least if you completely fade the best play on the slate, we say it all the time, Tony, it's at least know what you're doing, right? Know that if you don't play Luka tonight, he's the best play on the slate. You're taking a chance. I knew fading Jokic yesterday, even though he was one of the two best plays, that it was a chance I had. Somehow I still cashed, by the way. I have no idea how I cashed, but that you got to know when you fade good plays. It's not always going to work out in your favor, but don't just hedge. Don't just be I got 20% of them or 30%.
That's what I sent a tweet about yesterday. You can't just take a victory lap on freaking everything. Have some damn takes, whether they're right or wrong.
Mangone got Robert in the chat.
What happened? Oh, yeah, Mangone.
Wrong withdrawal, didn't he? Because Mangone tweeted out earlier he withdrew.
Mangone started off the day with bad mojo. I hope Mangone didn't.
Mangone would never do that if he played actual volume on Rom. He only did that.
I completely lost audio, guys. I have no idea what's going on.
We're ready to get out anyways.
Yeah.
Something happened. My speakers aren't working. I'm signing off. I'll talk to you guys soon.